Hey everyone, I'm Dolly.
And I'm Eddie, and we are Delloons.
Today we're going to be showing you a back to school arch, which is perfect, especially around this time, but also because you could recreate this with any theme that you can do. We're going to be using all our favorite Pro Tapes products that we use on a daily basis to make all of our creations come to life. So come on and keep on watching.
All right, guys, so let's get to it. We're going to start covering our bases. But before we get to that, let's talk about the product we're using to cover our bases. This is Product 120. It comes in a variety of colors. I have chosen black for this project because it goes well with the theme. The main reason why we use Product 120 for this particular application is because it's long lasting. It adheres really well to our bases, our cement. So it adheres to just about any surface, and it'll last a very long time. Super easy to apply. You can rip it with your hands. You don't need scissors. And it'll go on 1, 2, 3. Let's get to it. And there you have it. Now you have a finished, clean base. This is gonna give you a more professional and clean look, and it'll last a lot longer this way. Now our bases are ready, but before we bring in the balloon magic, we're gonna finish out our structure. And for that, we're gonna be using Pro Gaff. We use Pro Gaff every time we have structures that we need to come apart. It is a fabric tape that comes off very easy. It's really meant to be removed, so it doesn't leave a residue behind, and they have like 20 plus colors, so it'll definitely match with the core. So in our arches, we use this PVC pipes. So we use the Pro Gaff to make sure the pipe doesn't come undone once we put all the pressure from the balloons. Super easy to do, and it makes sure that our structure doesn't come undone, but it's easy enough for us to remove it once we're done with the setup and we come to breakdown. That's it. That's all we need. All set. Let's get to the balloon part.
Now that Eddie covered all the boring stuff, but necessary stuff, we're gonna go in with the balloons. We're gonna be creating a pencil on this side of our arch. So we're gonna be starting with that. And you're gonna be using quintets of 8-inch balloons. So these are 11-inch balloons that are calibrated to 8 inches. And then there's a point where we're going to change the calibration, but I'm going to walk you through and let you know when that's happening. So we're gonna be starting with a cluster of 5 balloons in the color baby pink. And this is going to be our eraser. You're simply going to go ahead and twist it in place. If you've made a column before, if you've made an arch before, then that's exactly the technique I'm using. You're just twisting everything right into place. Now we're going to switch it up and we're going to go into silver. That's like that silver band on our pencil. And then we're going to be using goldenrod. Here's my trick if you're working with an arch and you don't want to get up on a ladder. You're going to take one side out, put it on the floor, and now it's at a much lower height and you could continue to work super easily. Now we're gonna change the calibration of our cluster. This one is 7 inches. And now we're changing the calibration and the color. We're gonna be using blush, and this is 6 inches. Now 5 inches. And of course, to finalize things with our point, in black, we're gonna be using 5-inch balloons calibrated to 4 inches. And there you go, we have our pencil. And then we're gonna add a really fun pop of color with an assortment of rainbow colors. I went with hot pink, orange, yellow, lime green, blue, and lavender. I've already pre-made all of these clusters and I make them essentially the same every single time. They are 2 quads, which are made up of 2 11-inch balloons and 2 17-inch balloons, and then you have 3 11-inch balloons and 1 17-inch balloon. This is what gives my decor a lot more volume. I love incorporating those 17-inch balloons. And yes, I inflate them larger than your average balloon artist does because I want to get more bang for my buck. So we're simply just gonna go ahead and twist all the way down in rainbow order, as I was mentioning. Now we can bring this up because we are at a really nice height here to continue working without a ladder, but also without it being on the floor. And of course, our organic side is not done without some drama, so we're gonna be adding some clusters at the bottom there to add a little bit more volume. I'm going to be using neck to neck. It's the technique I use time and time again. It is rough on the hands, it's rough on your joints, so be mindful of that. But once you get the hang of it, it's a lot easier and way more teachable. And I'm just gonna add another cluster here in the front to cover our base fully. Another one of our superhero products is Pro J-Lard 2, and I use it in the 1-inch and 2-inch presentations. I use this religiously with my helium balloons, with my foil balloons, and the technique I'm gonna show you guys today, it's super easy, and I love it because it gives us a lot more malleability so we can actually move our balloons once they're set in place instead of just sticking them on. We're gonna be using a 260 balloon for this. We're gonna release all of the air and tie it at the end. This is gonna give you a lot more elasticity, so your balloon is gonna be way more stretchy. And then going in with our Pro J-Lard in the 2-inch presentation. And then I'm gonna cut 3 strips. They're going to be about 6 inches or so. And I'm just gonna put them right on the table. And we're done with that. To attach our foil balloon, what I'm going to do is make an attachment point. I'm going to be using my 260 right in the center of my balloon here. And with my J-Lard, I'm going to go ahead and apply it going horizontally across my 260. What I love about this tape is that it's absolutely clear, so it's literally undetectable, and I love covering my techniques because clients don't need to know how I adhered things. I think it gives you a more polished look and more professional look in my opinion. Then I'm gonna go in with the other 2 strips vertically right beside my 260. So right next to it, I'm gonna place it very strategically, and you're gonna have something like this. It's the H method that we always use, but on a balloon. And then we're going to go ahead and just tie a knot with our 260 balloon so everything is nice and secured and ready for installation. Now for our last step, we're gonna use the 1-inch presentation, and we're just gonna cut a strip so that we can tuck the valve back and make sure that everything is nice and neat and super secure. So I'm gonna go ahead and just tape it to my valve and then just push it back in the same direction that I obviously made the attachment because the front of my balloon is going to look super nice and clean. I'm gonna repeat these steps with all of my foil balloons and you're gonna see once they're all done. This is what all my foils are looking like. They all have their nice attachments and it's super nice and secure. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting them on my arch. I go in with my foils before I add in all of my 5-inch details and all the personality to my garland just because I want these nice and in place, and then I want everything to kind of look built around it. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring my largest balloon in. I'm gonna place it somewhere in the middle here. So I'm just gonna go across with my 260 and tie on one end. And obviously it's looking a little crazy, so we're gonna go ahead and straighten it out. This is what I meant when I said that I like doing this instead of always gluing everything. There are some things that I do glue on at the end, but honestly, when you put your foils in this way, you can totally move them. They're a lot more adjustable. You can move them up or down and side to side as well. I should put in a disclaimer right now that if my hair is looking staticky, it's the balloons, it's not my hair. If you know, you know. I've already put in my foils and now it's your time to shine. So you're gonna add in your personality, your style. If you like 5-inch ropes and that you do it throughout your garlands, you're gonna go ahead and add those now. If you like to add in clusters, you're gonna add those now. I'm gonna do that off camera and come right back. Now I'm gonna be adding welcome back right in the middle of my arch. I've got some foil 16-inch letters, some fishing line, and I'm gonna go ahead and attach it to one side first and then across to the other side. I'm gonna bring the fishing line across and just have it kind of rest there and move all my letters into place. Cut your excess fishing line and then make sure that you tie and secure everything nicely. And now I'm going to go in with my J-Lar in the 1-inch presentation and just cover all of my valves to make sure that everything is nice and polished. So we're gonna go right in here and just tape everything back. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add my second layer, which just says back, so welcome back all together. On one end, and then we're gonna go across. And if you're wondering how do I get all my letters to stay in place, I use J-Lar right on top of my fishing line wherever I want it placed. So now I'm gonna go ahead and figure out where I want the back to be. Perfect. And then we're gonna go ahead and place it right at the top of our fishing line so that this letter is not going to move from there. And don't worry, if you need to move things around, the beauty of it is that you could actually slide it on the fishing line as well. And what's a back to school setup without some new glue strips and crayons? We already got our pencil, so we're gonna go ahead and add these inflatable crayons to it as well. I'm using the 1-inch by 3-inch contractor pack for this application. It's gonna give us a really nice big surface to work with. And you're just gonna go back into your design and figure out where you want your crayons to be. Once you figure out where and how you want it, you're going to take your strip and you're gonna go ahead and just place it down wherever you're placing your inflatable. And when I tell you that it's not going anywhere, it's not going anywhere. And now I'm simply gonna be securing the other one right down here as well. Perfect. Now the sister, brother, sibling of our contractor pack is going to be our U-Glue dashes. And I love using these for all the small little details. So I've got these cutie little crayons that I'm gonna be tossing on here. And all you need is a little dash and it's going to stick on like no other. Now the trick to using U-Glue dashes with foils, especially if they're not silver, is you're gonna take an alcohol swab. I use disinfecting wipes, I carry them in my bag, and they have about 90% alcohol. So I'm gonna go ahead and just peel off some of that color right off of my balloon until I have that finish here that is silver. Make sure that it's nice and dry to the touch and add your U-Glue dash. Peel that back, and now we're gonna just glue this on. And that dash is gonna keep it right in place and it's not going to go anywhere. All right, so class is officially in session and we are done with our back to school project. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and leave us a like, a comment, and subscribe to the Pro Tapes channel right here too, because they got all the good stuff coming your way.